Hey everybody, I'm the Ranting Monkey, and today we're going to talk about pure bullshit. The Nunes Memo has finally been released, and the response has been pretty much what I expected. While the memo does nothing to exonerate the White House for their alleged Russian ties, the media has been ignoring the most damning charges as they once again cover for Obama-era abuses of government agencies for political purposes. For the record, I will not be saying allegedly regarding the Nunes Memo throughout this video. My thoughts are based on the assumption the memo is true, which is a pretty fair assumption since none of the backlash has suggested the information is incorrect, just that it's incomplete, which we'll get to in a few minutes. Still, it should be noted that this memo was written by a Republican and there's no evidence or supporting documentation given due to it being classified. With that said, let's get into this.
That's it. That's all they've got.
Transgender anorexic Sean Hannity is fake giggling to herself about the memo from House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes suggesting the FBI and DOJ lied to a judge in order to wiretap Carter Page, who was working for the Trump campaign at the time. She's also repeating a tweet from James Comey, the fired former FBI director who should probably be contacting a defense attorney rather than tweeting about how little regard he has for the law. I didn't include this just to laugh at Hannity and drag here. The media response to this has been near universally the same. The exact same talking points, sometimes word for word. All of these news sources predictably ignore the most fucked up charges in the Nunes Memo. If I were a conspiratorial-minded man, I might think there was a coordinated effort at work here. While I'm not a conspiracy nut, I might just be psychic. From CNN, the Nunes Memo, 5 takeaways. Strap in, folks, the shit is about to get really deep.
McCabe's testimony key to unlocking the veracity of Republican allegations. The central allegation in the Nunes Memo is buried near the end of the 4-page document. FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe testified before the committee in December 2017 that no surveillance warrant would have been sought from FISA court without the Steele dossier information. Much of the memo is focused on the opposition dossier on Trump and Russia written by ex-British intelligence agent Christopher Steele and how Steele's indirect payments from Democrats and anti-Trump views weren't disclosed to the FISA court. But the allegations against Steele are only as significant as Steele's dossier is to the larger FBI FISA application. The Republican memo charges that it's essential, citing the McCabe testimony, but Democrats dispute that characterization. If you look at the whole of Mr. McCabe's testimony, what he was describing is that the FISA application relies on all the components within the application, each and every component, said Representative Adam Schiff, the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee. And only in that sense is it fair to say, well, if you take out any piece of it, then does that mean that the application would not be complete?
Yes, that's exactly what it fucking means. There may well be supporting evidence, but McCabe is quite clearly saying without that specific part, the other evidence wouldn't have been enough to seek a warrant. The other evidence is quite literally irrelevant. If they would not have sought the warrant without Steele's flawed partisan hit piece paid for by the DNC and the Clinton campaign, none of the other evidence matters. The memo suggests the FBI and the DOJ withheld pertinent information about the dossier when they presented it to the FISA court. They lied. They lied to get a warrant to illegally tap a member of a presidential campaign. The press should be all over this, not defending and deflecting.
That's it.
No, you bulimic muppet, there's a lot more.
The dossier didn't start the Trump-Russia investigation. The Nunes Memo focuses on the dossier's use in the Page FISA warrant, but the memo also undercuts its own argument by noting that the FISA application also included information regarding Trump campaign foreign policy advisor George Papadopoulos, suggesting that there was intelligence beyond the dossier. The memo also confirms it was not the dossier that sparked the FBI investigation into Trump and Russia, but rather it was Papadopoulos, whose conversation with a professor connected to the Russian government promising dirt on Clinton were relayed to the FBI through the Australian government. While the memo attempts to make the point there was no evidence connecting Papadopoulos to Page, it really confirms a larger piece of the overall Russia investigation by stating that the FBI counterintelligence investigation was triggered by Papadopoulos in June 2016, months before the Page FISA application was filed.
Well, Sparky, that's why this doesn't necessarily exonerate Trump. However, the part you're glossing over is that the warrant to tap Page relied on the Papadopoulos information despite there being absolutely no evidence they were related. That's why the memo attempts to make that point. The director of the FBI, the deputy director of the FBI, and 3 deputy attorney generals signed off on different warrant requests suggesting that Papadopoulos' investigation was somehow pertinent to Page when they knew damn well it wasn't. Seems like that's a pretty fucking important point to raise.
That's it.
No, you overpaid, underfed human Q-tip. There's still more.
Rosenstein plays a minor role, but before the memo was released Friday, conservatives suggested it would implicate senior FBI and Justice Department officials, including Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. Rosenstein is key to the Russia investigation because he has the power to fire Mueller after Attorney General Jeff Sessions recused himself from the Russia matter. Earlier this week, Trump told his associates and aides he wanted the memo released, believing it could discredit the agency investigating possible collusion between his campaign associates and Russia. Rosenstein is only mentioned once in the memo itself, as one of the multiple officials who signed one of the 3 FISA renewals for Page. While that shows Rosenstein had a role in the Page FISA warrants, the fact that there have been 3 renewals also means that a FISA judge was convinced that the surveillance was yielding information about the target acting as an agent of a foreign power that merited continued monitoring.
Oh, now we're blaming the judge. The judge was fed false information from, wait for it, senior officials at the FBI and DOJ. The memo does implicate these people. They signed their names to the warrant request. Rod Rosenstein was one of 3 deputy attorneys general who signed off on this shit. FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe was another one. Remember him from the first takeaway? Well, the day the Intelligence Committee voted to release this report, he stepped down from his position. And no one in the media is questioning that timing. Go fucking figure.
That's it.
No daddy issues. There's even more.
It's all about credibility and undermining it. The dossier's central charges are intended to diminish the credibility of Steele and those around him. Steele lost his credibility, the memo alleges, for being anti-Trump, for talking to the press, and for writing a product only minimally corroborated, suggesting he shouldn't have been a credible source for the FBI to use in the FISA application. In addition to being paid by Democrats, Steele is accused of telling Justice Department official Bruce Orr he was desperate that Donald Trump not get elected and was passionate about him not being president. The memo also criticizes Steele for his media contacts with Yahoo News, and accuses him of lying and concealing them from the FBI, ruining his past status as a reliable source on the FBI's 2010 investigation into FIFA, the soccer governing body. Steele's numerous encounters with the media violated the cardinal rule of source handling, maintaining confidentiality, and demonstrated that Steele had become a less than reliable source for the FBI. The memo states, while acknowledging Steele's past record of credible reporting on other unrelated matters. But Steele's role providing key information to the FBI in the past FIFA investigation would carry significant weight with the court. Stephen Vladnik, a CNN legal analyst and professor at the University of Texas School of Law, said the Nunes memo leaves out all of the rest of the information that the government was relying on to get the warrant.
Ah, fuck, here we go with this shit again. All of the other information? You mean the information that wasn't enough without the Steele dossier? That information? I don't know how many more ways I can say this. McCabe, the deputy fucking director of the FBI, who signed off on one of the warrant requests, said the request would not have been made without the Steele dossier. All of this other magical evidence means exactly dick without the dossier. It'd be like saying you could have a peanut butter sandwich without peanut butter because you still had fucking bread. It's that goddamn moronic to bring this dumbass point up repeatedly. As for Steele, he discredited himself by composing a dossier that was full of shit. Him working for the DNC and the Hillary Clinton campaign, as well as quotes from him about not wanting Trump to be president, are absolutely relevant. Could he have been receiving money from a political party and a political campaign while hating Trump and still put together a dossier that wasn't full of shit? Sure, but he didn't. And the motivation for why he didn't is important, especially when we're talking about a wiretap being placed on a member of the opposing party during a fucking campaign. The only credibility Steele had comes from work he did investigating soccer corruption. That alone should not have been enough to overlook the clearly partisan and laughably incorrect dossier and then to present it and keep presenting it to a judge.
That's it.
No, you snarky waste of an orgasm. There's still more you and your slimy media cohorts are pretending doesn't exist.
Any bipartisanship for the House Russia investigation is officially gone. The House Intelligence Committee's Russia investigation has been embroiled in politics for nearly a year now, stemming back from when Nunes stepped aside from the probe amid an ethics committee investigation that he was later cleared for. Still, the committee has managed somewhat to work together on the Russia probe under Texas Republican Mike Conaway to bring in a stream of Trump and Obama officials. But any last hope that the committee would sit down to write a report together on its findings is out the window. Even before the Nunes memo, most lawmakers were resigned to the idea that they would end up with 2 conflicting reports. A Republican version concluding there's no evidence of collusion, and a Democratic one highlighting all of the areas where the committee failed to sufficiently investigate. Now the 2 sides have been at each other's throats for the past 2 weeks over the Nunes memo, and the committee's members don't expect that to dissipate when they return, even if Nunes' role in the Russia probe stays behind the scenes.
Wait, so this is what killed any bipartisanship on the committee? You just said it was expected to lead to 2 different versions of events based entirely on party lines. You also mentioned that Nunes was forced to step away from the investigation over what turned out to be bullshit. But this is what killed bipartisanship? Do you just not know what that word means?
That's it.
No, you sad excuse for a winning sperm. There's a whole bunch more this asshole skipped, and oddly, it's the same shit you skipped in your report, which is linked below for anyone who hates themselves enough to watch it. What was missed? How about the FISA request citing a September 2016 Yahoo News article as corroborating evidence for the Steele dossier? Why is that a problem? Steele was the source for the fucking Yahoo article. They literally used the same evidence to support their fucking evidence. Or how about Associate Attorney General Bruce Orr? Remember him? He was mentioned above. Why is he important? Well, he was a contact for Steele at the Justice Department. Orr worked with both Deputy Attorney General Yates and Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein, 2 of the deputy AGs who signed off on the warrant requests for Page. As all of this was going on, Orr's wife worked for Fusion GPS, the same company Steele was working for, where she was also being paid to dig up dirt on Trump. If anyone was looking for the Nunes memo to clear Trump, no, it does not do that. But if that's the only thing you take from the memo, you didn't pay attention. What this memo is suggesting is that partisan forces within our government colluded to provide false testimony to a secret court, not only to spy on the political opposition, but to influence a presidential election. At the very best, if I am being far more generous than I've ever been in my entire life, the memo at least shows gross negligence in the FBI and DOJ. I'd even say criminal negligence. And that's the nicest I can be. In reality, it looks like yet another example of the Obama administration using the government to target opponents as they did with the IRS. Every political reporter in the country should be demanding answers. Instead, they're misdirecting and purposefully avoiding the real subject. At the bare minimum, people should be fired for this. It should be dominating headlines. The people investigating illegal influence in our elections have been accused of illegally influencing our elections. Keep this in mind. Had Hillary won, we wouldn't know any of this. It only came to light because of the Trump investigation. If she had won, there wouldn't be an investigation. All of this would have just quietly went away. The Democratic National Committee and the Hillary campaign paid Steele to compile a bogus dossier that was used to get a secret warrant to wiretap a member of Trump's campaign. And the majority of our press can't seem to find anything fucking wrong with it. Not even when the fucking deputy director of the FBI stepped down the day we knew the memo was going to be released. Nothing to see here, folks. All just a bunch of perfectly understandable coincidences. At the very least, the press should be demanding answers, Congress should be investigating, and a few people should be fired and probably in jail. That there isn't outrage in the media and across party lines in Congress about this is a fucking disgrace. Alright guys, that's going to wrap up this one. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and share it. Believe it or not, sharing is one of the best things you can do for creators you enjoy. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'm the Ranting Monkey, and I'll see you next time.
That's it.
Your life makes me sad.